Welcome to the 4th episode of Junto Club. On this episode, we trash Shu's creed for the podcast. We discuss Ben Franklin's Poor Richard's Almanac, working out during the quarantine, the Dr. Jill Biden controversy, and more about dealing with mortality and what options are available to cheat death. For any questions, comments, or to commiserate over existential crises, email juntoclubpodcast@gmail.com. This is Junto Club.
Junto Club.
So welcome to the 4th meeting of the Junto Club. So very quick. So the first order of thing on the agenda is to approve the Junto manifesto that I wrote during the week. So do you want me to go ahead and read it?
You read it, Shu.
All right. So we members of the Junto Club are committed to think inside the box, to use no rules as rules, and to be close-minded in order to create an unsafe space where controversial ideas are not only discussed, but nurtured. All right. I think someone might have objection to this. So, Matt, I think you're manifesto?
Yes, I would object. I don't want to be mean or anything, but it sounds like something an edgy college freshman would write. And I don't feel like it really states any meaningful purpose. It's just trying to be like, look, we're different than everyone else. Look how unique we are. Yeah, I don't like it. I really don't like it. You should just do what Ben Franklin did. Basically, just stick to his stuff.
Okay, that's a good point. But
that's my opinion. I'm only one person here.
Yeah, what do you think, Mike?
No, I mean, I agree. It's douchey. But at the same time, no, I mean, I don't know that we need any, I mean, I don't know. Like, if we're going manifestos, like, it has to be on the level of the Unabomber. It's just not worth it.
Unabomber? What do you mean on the level of Unabomber?
You're not familiar with the Unabomber?
I am familiar with him, but what do you mean by on the level of?
Like he wrote, like it's like how long is it? It's like 30 pages or so. Like it's like quite an extensive document where essentially.
That's actually Mike's favorite book, the Unabomber Manifesto.
That's right. It's a close second, but it's no. But yeah, no. I mean, I don't know that we need any type of creed as much as just.
Gotcha.
I don't know. I mean,
no, that makes sense. I guess I'm still in the level of freshman, douchey level of mindset. So that's how I came up with it. So it's good, and that's why I need you guys to shut things down like that, right? So I guess continue. Yeah. So continue on our general things. The first thing is usually we talk about Benjamin Franklin at the beginning. So today, I guess I talk about one of Benjamin Franklin's publications, which is called the Poor Richard's Almanac. Have you guys heard it before?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Yeah. So it's basically has a couple of things. Basically, his sayings, right? His quotes from him. He basically wrote it himself. It's a small nugget of wisdom, just something advice he wanted to give it to others. So he published it. It became really popular. Mm-hmm. And then one of them I got, for example, the first one is early to bed, early to rise, make a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, so that's when you said when you first introduced it, I was like, oh, that's Shu. Like that was the quote that occurred to me because I was like, oh, because Shu follows that one very well.
All right. So the second one I got really confused on is 3 good meals make 3 good meals a day is bad living.
Say that again.
3 meals a day is bad living.
3 good meals a day is bad living.
Yeah.
I think Benjamin Franklin was on the intermittent fasting, trend way ahead of his time. I think that might be what he's referring to. Like if you eat 3 big meals a day, that's probably too much food, right? I think that's what good is in this context. It's like a big meal, right?
I see what you're saying. Okay.
So I'm guessing he just realized that. Because, I mean, there were a lot less fat people in 200 years ago, but there were still people who were overweight. So I'm guessing they realized, yeah, you could eat too much.
All right. Okay, that makes sense.
Any other interpretations?
Yeah. I think that makes sense, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's actually sort of the direction I was going in as well. Good is big.
All right.
Yeah. So, skewing off this, do y'all believe in the intermittent fasting hype?
To a degree. I mean, I feel like, to be honest, the few times I've lost a decent bit of weight was the times where I was practicing maybe more likely to intermittent fast, not individual days of the week or something, but weeks at a time. So, but I mean, that's could be because it's literally much easier to limit calories in, versus calories out if you're just eating fewer times. So.
Yeah, I think it's the people I follow have pretty good credentials that they done it a lot. They experiment. I think they experiment with it a lot, and then I heard that it's very good for even for cancer patients too, to do intermittent fasting as well. So, but for me, it's not. I'm trying to gain weight, so it's not. I cannot do it. I'm trying so hard to gain weight and can't even do it. No, so I will not do it for now.
God, just if we switch diets, sure, you'll be fine. 4 good meals a day makes a boy overweight and wise.
Have you tried it, Matt?
I mean, I have to live it because I usually just skip breakfast all the time, but I typically have a later dinner. So the most common intermittent fasting is 16 hours without eating. So you have lunch and dinner within an 8-hour window. And usually I'm probably a little bit longer than 8 hours between them, but yeah, so I don't know. So for weight loss, I agree. At least for me, when I have done limited weight loss, just not eating meals is the easiest thing to do. Then there's the potential health benefits, but I've never been able to notice anything meaningfully different in my health.
Yeah. Right. Actually, that just remind me of a quote I read this week. It's someone was talking about, if you want to lose weight, don't focus on working out, focus on your diet, right? So
yeah,
improve, right? Yeah.
No. They say abs are made in the kitchen.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, really?
That's why I've never been able to get them.
But yeah, because you can run for 30 minutes and then one cookie is all those calories back. So yeah, basically it's generally much easier to eat back what you burn unless you're training an Olympic athlete, which most people can't do. So.
Okay. Yeah. So how are you guys working out? How are your workout looks like nowadays with COVID?
I mean,
you go first, Mike.
I mean, I'll say it's just been terrible. At the beginning, it's I got a door pull-up bar, and I was trying to do pull-ups and just jog outside and stuff. But I mean, I ended up putting on a pretty substantial amount of weight. So I ended up now it's I do push-ups. I try to do dips on using a chair, and I'll walk. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely not easy without regularly going to the gym, because I think that help facilitate good workouts for me is I had gym essentially scheduled into every day, whereas now it's just sort of around the apartment, so it makes it less structured and happen less effectively.
Yeah, I feel you. I've been pretty consistent about doing them, but they're definitely 20 minutes, kind of moderately difficult. They're not as intense or serious as they were when I was going to the gym.
So what your workout looks like though?
I mean, it's pretty similar. I basically do pull-ups and rows, push-ups and handstand push-ups.
Handstand push-ups. Wow. All right. Nice.
Against the wall because I cannot balance in a handstand. But
that's still pretty good. I mean, I cannot even do it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then like one-legged squats, and then I do some running. You could probably do a handstand push-up. I bet you could if you did it.
No, I try. I'm still working on it. Yeah, I'm still working on it. Yeah. But those are good. Wow, nice, pretty good. Yeah. Well, speaking of working out or sports, right? Have you heard that break dancing is an Olympic sport now?
I did not hear that.
Really?
And they still didn't put wrestling back in? Is that still removed from an Olympic sport?
Oh, I never know wrestling is not part of it.
Wasn't that a controversy like 4 or 8 years ago? Did you ever hear about this, Mike?
I feel like I do remember something about it, but I didn't pay too much attention. So
yeah, that makes sense. I think they are limiting the number of participants for boxing and like weightlifting because there's something going on with the organization. So they were limiting the participants for those kind of sports. So yeah. But anyway, breakdancing. So you could do breakdancing at home as well, I guess, as a workout.
So is that
seem pretty fit?
Yeah. No. Well, yeah. You do definitely. I mean, I can see the athleticism involved, but is it judged like? I mean, how is it judged? I guess like, is there?
It's like. I guess it's more like gymnastics, right? Now, how do you judge gymnastics, right? It's the movement, right? So yeah, if you do it correctly, then it's not if you can spin yourself vertically on your head for like, I don't know, 30 minutes or hour.
Right. Well, I guess that's what I'm saying, though, is like, I guess I've never even thought about this for gymnastics either, because I'm not, like, I very rarely watch sports that are in the Olympics other than the ones that I would typically watch anyway, whether it be hockey or basketball. But, I mean, that's about it. But, like, I guess when it comes to, like, I mean, like, for diving, I guess there's, like, they rate different dives on form, and like I assume there's certain guidelines like when that come to rating it, that like form, complexity. So I guess breakdancing is similar, where they like, I mean, but I guess the hardest thing in breakdancing, like it would be nearly impossible to spin yourself on your head for like 45 seconds straight or something. But like I don't know that would be necessarily like the most entertaining breakdance. So I mean, yeah, I guess I don't know. I don't know how they judge it.
Yeah, they'll probably just copy gymnastic routines, right? Whether it's like the double bars or floor routine, right? There's like enough people just do a bunch of moves in a row, and like moves are worth so many points based on difficulty, and then you get better scores for like how well you do them. So it'll probably be the same thing where they'll like say, you know, these are like the set of breakdancing moves, and you know, the harder ones are worth more points. So everyone kind of builds like these routines that kind of, you know, tries to get good scores. But
yeah, I mean, it's similar to like gymnastics. Well, the event is not even bar; it's called floor, right? You just do the floor like movement, like different like flipping, you know, stuff like that. Yeah, yeah.
I think this is your new calling, Michael. You should become a break dancer.
Oh yeah.
There's still time before my wedding for you to get good, so you can break dance on the, you know, at the reception.
That's right. Yeah, you need to get a circle started, and I'll just go into the middle. So, nice. No, I don't think it's for me. I'll be honest.
All right. So, anyway, a lot more weird sports on Olympics anyway than break dancing probably. So should we move on to the next more like controversial topics, like Dr. Jill? Have you guys heard of the controversial thing?
Oh yeah, I've heard of it.
Shoot, you start this time. What do you think about possible Dr. Jill?
Well, the controversial thing is about a lot of people were slamming it as a sexism, right? Like, is he being sexist by calling her out, and then calling her like kiddo, right? Name, stuff like that, right? And well, personally, I don't think that's only almost like the first sentence. That's only the first sentence of the article, the whole article, right? I don't think that's sexism, right? Because he's more attacking about calling yourself doctor because you have a PhD, not a medical doctor, right? So he's just like saying, oh, if you just have a PhD, you should not call yourself a doctor, basically, because doctor is more referring to a medical doctor. And also, he calling her kiddo is more like, I think Joe Biden called her kiddo, right, all the time. So, I mean, I think he's just referring to that as well, right? So, yeah. So, personally, I don't think that is sexism. I mean, that's the controversial thing, right? If it's sexism, I think that's the most controversial thing. And personally, I don't think it is. And then whether you should call yourself doctor because you have a PhD, that's another whole different story, right? Yeah.
No, I mean, I haven't looked at the sexist angle too much. I mean, I was more interested in the story just like because he essentially acts like, which is just someone who doesn't have a PhD. But I mean, I think it's pretty clear, like, not all doctorates not all doctors are made equal, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, and that's true of MDs as well. Like, if you're a neurosurgeon and did, 10 years of residencies after, the medical school, then that's a totally different animal than if you're essentially just like a GP, like a pediatric GP who essentially just went to like a year or something after medical school and basically just writes amoxicillin on prescription pads. So, basically, I mean, I think, I do think that, like, there just needs to be an understanding that, like, the title doctor applies to many, I mean, technically lawyers are doctors, right? Or, I mean, so.
That's how it's always been, right? Like, we've had literally centuries of college professors being doctors, getting PhDs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, is the guy sexist? It definitely smells like sexism because there's no way he went through life without running into people who are not medical doctors, but were called doctor by title.
Right.
And then just because like the first lady's doing it, like now he's going to make a big deal, write an article. Like, I don't know, maybe he rages at people all the time for it in his personal life. This is just the first time he wrote an article. But like, there's no way he hasn't seen this before, right?
Yeah.
Right. It's suspicious. I'll say that.
Also, if you in the article, he mostly attacking like honorary doctors. He didn't even he made all arguments again talking about like why you give like honorary doctor to like Stephen Colbert, Seth Meyers, or the other celebrities, but he did not really attack the core issue of like the real like doctor of philosophy who went through the PhD and get a doctor.
Yeah, Joe Biden doesn't have an honorary doctorate. So.
Yeah. Well, that no. I mean, I do agree with Matt that like based on I guess what I've seen, like he's probably a little bit sexist. Or he's just like a one of the sort of more conservative voices who just needs to find something. Like even beyond sexism, it's just like you need to find something to complain about. Yeah. So, I mean, like I say, for me, it's like she has a PhD, like she's doctor, but I mean, I guess like I will sometimes get like a little bit, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I do feel like sometimes like there are definitely PhDs that are not equivalent to what we went through for like our PhDs, right? I mean, there are PhDs where essentially like you start the program and you know your graduation date, like from the day you start. That's fundamentally different than like a hard science PhD. So,
yeah.
I believe she doesn't have a PhD, but a doctorate in education, which might technically be a different title, but and maybe it's not as hard as like a STEM PhD, but I don't know. I'm not that interested in like policing other people. If she got the title from like a real university,
right?
It's hers.
Yeah,
right. She can do what she wants. So,
yeah, this guy's a douche. Let's just be honest. Yeah, maybe he's just trying to like stir up controversy to get clickbait, but I don't know. Either way,
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think there's people on both sides that, like I say, no matter if it's like a non-issue or even something good, they will literally look to I need to find something here to rile people up. And it's this is just, it should be a non-issue.
This the only time this could ever come up as an issue is if, Jill Biden was listen to me, my medical advice, I'm a doctor, then you'd be you're not that type of doctor.
Right, exactly.
As far as I know, she's never been I'm a doctor, so I have authority on medical issues. So.
Yeah.
No, that is fair.
All right. Moving on to mortality, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Well, I feel before we get into immortality and freezing yourself, we should see, did you catch up on what Stoicism says about death?
Yeah. Okay, sure. I can talk about it, actually. So the main thing Stoicism see about, I would say the main core principle is see death is instead of tackling death, is they try to tackle the fear of death, right? Instead of death itself. So he treat it as external and internal, right? Something called external, internal. External means something you cannot control. Internal means something you can control yourself, right? So death itself is an external event, right? So you should not, basically says that you should not focus on that, and that's something you cannot control. And so if you want to work on internal things that you can control, is your own fear of it, right? And your perspective, your perception of it, and how and some actions you can do, right? So stuff like that. I can continue more, but I guess I can ask you, I guess, Mike, a question why do you fear death?
Well, literally, I feel fear, fear by definition, would be, impulse in the brain that's in response to, plain or unpleasantness more generally. And that's because those were probably indicators of imminent death or potential for death as we evolved. So, I think fear stems fundamentally from death or lack of existence. Fear arose to keep animals alive, right?
So, but why do you fear death yourself? You are talking about neural, why you understand the neural basis, but why do you fear death personally?
Why do I fear death personally? I guess it's lack of existence, lack of seeing the future, lack of future experience.
So why do you think that is bad? Why non-existence is bad? Why death is bad?
I suppose bad might be the wrong word. I guess it's nothing.
Okay.
And I prefer something.
Okay. Yeah. So non-existent, right? Death just means non-existent. So that's how you see it, right?
Yes.
But before you were born, you were non-existent as well, right?
That's true.
So if you were fine before you were born, why are you not fine after you are dead? Because it's the same thing, right? Before birth is equal to after death is equal to non-existence. They're the same thing.
No, this is, and I've heard, Penn Jillette is he's a magician, but he's also reasonably well-known, atheist. And he, talks about people have asked, how do you deal with not believing in an afterlife? And his answer is basically 1850. And because he wasn't alive in 1850. So it's essentially that argument, right? You were fine before you were born, or, there was nothing before you were born. So now you're here, and there'll be a time when you aren't here, and it will just be like before you were born.
Sounds like he read Stoicism.
Yes.
So the reason I asked the question, Matt, you have something to say?
I was going to say, I mean, I hear that argument sometimes, but wouldn't most people who are maybe not suicidal say they're happy that they are now alive instead of still being like not alive, right? Like you can say, yeah, like you weren't actively suffering before you were born or whatever, but like generally, I think most people are happy that they, were born, started existing.
But I think you're talking suicidal people, right?
I mentioned it.
I guess right now this doesn't apply to suicidal people, I guess, because there's different mindset and they need to address those questions, right? So for the majority of people, the fear of death, right? Suicidal, I don't think they fear death, right? Maybe they do, I'm not sure, right? But yeah. So the reason I asked Mike those questions because the first thing that first thing that Stoicism talk about is how to address this is to basically redefine death, right? How your perception of initially you fear death because you perceive it as a bad thing, right? So the first thing you can do to address the fear is to redefine death, what it is. Maybe rename it and call it something else. Like, for example, they say, instead of say someone died, someone was returned, something blah blah blah. I mean, those things might work or might not work, but anyway, so it's just an example, right? You can redefine your perception a little bit, right? And of course, it's easy saying, but hard to do, right? But of course, that's what Stoicism is kind of about, right? It's a practice, right? It's a way, it's a tool, right? You can use, but to master it is really a different story, right? To really know how to use it, apply it correctly, I mean, perfectly for yourself is a practice, right? So anyway, so do you have any comments on that before I go on to the second part?
I was going to say, Mike, it's not death. It's a biological misunderstanding.
That's right, yeah.
Exactly.
Previous podcast to get this joke.
There's some quotes that I recently heard people saying, I think from Jim Collins, right? He says, like, I guess don't mistake like living a long life with like living a good life. So if you strive to immortality, right, you might, if you focus on that, now you're dead, right? Sometimes you might forgot to live, basically, right? You try to live a long life, but you are actually not living a good life, right? So don't confuse a good life with long life with a good life. I think that was pretty good advice.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, there's sort of like quotes from Buddhism as well, sort of about like the length of the length of a turtle's life. A long-term life like a turtle or hundreds of years is not sort of doesn't necessarily have more meaning or like worth or anything else than that of a housefly. So meaning that like a housefly lives a day, a turtle can live hundreds of years, and it's like, but ultimately, like their lives can have the same weight or meaning depending on how they're lived. So.
Yeah. Where did you get that from?
I think it's Buddhism. I mean, I wrote a paper in like it's 10 years ago in like first year of college at this point on Buddhist, like the Buddhist, like iconography in some poem.
So you were curious about this topic already 10 years ago, the death kind of
yes.
thing.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it does interest me. I mean, I think it's been in my, like, I mean, it's in everyone's life, obviously, from the moment you start living, but.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess the Stoicism, just continue a little bit. Like first one is like change your perception kind of in a way regarding death. And there's many things you can do about it. And the other one, the second part is action, basically, like to basically be they advise that you should get like familiar with that. Something called one example is memento mori. You guys heard of that before, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So memento mori. I think it's a Roman. It translates to remember you must die, right? So it actually is a Roman practice long time ago, where like whenever like a general went to fight a war, and when they come back victorious, they always have a parade ceremony. When they go parade through the street, the general always have someone behind him, like. So all people on the street are cheering, "Oh, you're on the best," or saying, victory and stuff like that. But the general always have someone behind him whispering to his ear, say, "Memento mori, memento mori," as the parade goes on to remind him that remember you must die. It's a practice that to basically remind yourself that you can die, right? One day. That way, you can. Something, it's a small thing you can do to familiar with yourself in the concept of death. That way you might become less fearful of it, right? And then nowadays, actually, a lot of people carry a coin of memento mori on there, right? Sometimes it's just a skull. I think it's a coin with a skull on there, right? Now, I think people like Shakespeare and Mozart actually have those coins with them as like when they were living to remind them of the same concept as well. So yeah, so that's something you can do as practice net. Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, in Mexico, there's the festival of like the dead or Day of the Dead, where families go and like dine at cemeteries and stuff, and it's. I mean, that of course is again like a little bit more religious based, or I mean, there's sort of a sense that you go on forever, right? Because their spirits are like inhabiting different objects and stuff. But
yeah,
I mean,
so yeah. Have you guys been to cemeteries?
Yes, literally, like every weekend of my childhood.
Oh, really? How so?
Well, just, I mean, my grandmother, my mom was the youngest of 5 kids. So, like, my grandmother was older when I was born. Like, she had my mom when she was older, and my mom had us when she was a little bit older. So, like, when we were born, my grandmother was, like, in her 70s, or, like, 69, 70 when I was born. So, basically, I mean, or 2 of my 4 grandparents had already died and stuff. So like my grandmother, a lot of her friends and family were buried in the area. So she would go to the cemetery, and her sort of hobby was like, gardening. So she would, bring plants to the cemetery and make the grave sites look nice and water plants around the graves and stuff like that.
Every week?
It was pretty frequent. Certainly every holiday and some just random weekends. So
did you enjoy going to the cemetery?
I would not say it was enjoying. I mean, I guess it helped me. See, I always viewed it as like, oh, I wanted to make her feel good, and it made her feel good for me to be there. But at the same time, I don't know that the actual presence of the cemetery, like being present in a cemetery, was necessarily good for me. But
so you say you are not sure if it was good for you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say it was like, oh, this place is fun. I mean, I mean, it's like, it's just a park that's like a creepy version of a park. So.
Oh, really? You think you thought it is creepy?
I mean, I guess that connotation came over time, maybe. I don't know. As I saw people as I got older and people I knew died, and then I would see them buried there, and it's like, yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily know that it's, I don't necessarily know that, I'm not a person who would be like, oh, I'm at a cemetery. Like, I actually, when I go for walks and stuff, like I'll occasionally still walk through cemeteries where it's like I don't know anyone buried or anything. It's just like it's a peaceful place to walk, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's more just and it wouldn't bother me to be there like at dusk or like at night or whatever, but it's more just I guess I don't necessarily like draw comfort in being near corpses I know.
Okay. Yeah. What about you, Matt?
I mean, I've been to a few cemeteries, a handful of times in my life. Not nearly as frequently as Mike. I guess I don't really have any strong opinions on them. They are what they are.
Oh, do you like it? Do you like the cemetery, or you just like neutral?
Neutral.
Oh, okay. I guess the reason I ask is recently I've been to the Decatur Cemetery, right? Cemetery usually, at least the Decatur Cemetery is almost like it's a beautiful place. A lot of people walk there. Also, I feel like cemetery has a very calming effect that I did not realize. Like just so calm, like it distresses you as well, right? So yeah, you just have because usually I think most people think of a cemetery, it's a place of dead, you want to go there. But when you, at least the one I visited, it's like, it's very nice, almost like a beautiful park in a way. And also, as you walk around, you can see that, this person was like alive or dead in like 1850s. Like, oh wow, that's 100 years ago. I imagine what his life was like back in the day, right? And then you see some headstones, right? Some have some more writings on there, like their family might have some a poem about the person, right? I think I actually came across a poem, like a plate headstone, right? And then actually, I think the person died really young, like maybe he was 20 something before college, and the family actually wrote a very, very beautiful poem that I read it. It's like just so beautiful, right? It's like I feel like the person, whoever dead, was really loved by his family members, right? So those kind of things that you discover in those kind of cemetery, so I really enjoy going to cemetery. It's a surprising find. So yeah, and then also I guess going back to the stoicism practice of like memento mori, I guess cemetery is one way. Instead of taking a coin of memento mori with you, just go to walk through a cemetery, right? I think Atlanta has a couple of cemeteries that are very beautiful. Now, I think one is in Oakland Cemetery and the other one in Decatur. Yeah, anyway, so.
No, they give tours at Oakland, or Oak, whatever the big one is. That's
Oakland,
yeah. Like they give tours of like at night of like, here are like famous singers who have lived in Atlanta or from Atlanta, famous writers, things like that.
Oh, really? All right. Yeah. I have to visit now and then.
Yeah, that's right. So, no, I mean, it is interesting to like look back at people's lives, but I guess for me, I don't know that I won't say constant, but like I don't necessarily think it's know how necessary it is to repeatedly be reminded of one's mortality. Like, I think that's particularly helpful if a person is quote unquote sort of wasting or like letting their lives get away from them or something. But I think if you have a certain focus, it can be a little bit or direction to your life. I think, and particularly if you're sort of like have long-term outlooks, it's probably unhealthy.
I see. Yeah. Any thoughts, Matt? That's my summary of stoicism on death for now.
Yeah. I don't know. Often I try to, rather than reminding myself about mortality, I try to not think about it and distract myself with, my silly human life stuff. But I think, I believe at least that I still, as Mike says, have a direction to my life and not just like burning it away. So right. I don't think that's a problem, but I'll keep that in mind. If, if I ever feel I'm getting off track, maybe I'll be like, I got to start thinking about my impending doom all the time to keep me focused.
That's right.
Yeah. All right.
That's why you need to freeze yourself, Matt.
All right, yeah, we wanted to get into the freezing.
I mean, I don't know if it's something we need to go into a ton, but I like last episode we were talking about we also were talking about mortality, and so I was like, well, so it just occurred to me, like, how do I become immortal?
I mean, yeah, you're too early for science to have figured it out, so you pay someone to freeze your head. Mm. You get like what? What do you think? A 1% chance it works that high?
I mean, I would take honest, like, so there are services that do it for like like your whole body for 200,000. So, I mean, I don't know if it's a 1% chance. I think 200,000 is worth it. I'll be honest. I mean, it's like
you can pay for life insurance, and then they can take the life insurance. I was reading the article that was linked. Yeah. So, like, yeah, I don't know. Also, but then they were like, you can do just your head for cheaper, which sounds morbid, but like in this future where they can like unfreeze your head and like reverse what you're dying and fix your brain, what are the chances they can make a new body for you? Seems pretty high, right? Like, why would you want your old body?
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. It could be maybe a longer time before, cause I mean, so people say like, oh, your brain is you, which I agree with, but a large chunk of your brain is like basically formed and like wired to control a specific body, right? Which is your body. That's true. I guess it's the degree of difficulty in converting I guess you would need like a pretty substantial amount of time, I would imagine, to convert your body to like your robot body, like your brain to running your robot body.
No, that's a good point.
You'll be a robot body, right? They can just regrow it from your DNA. You'll be your original body, right? You can, from your DNA stuff.
Yeah. I mean, again, all of this is potential science and potential science fiction, but I mean, it could just as easily be that Jesus comes back and brings your original body with him, like old Catholicism used to say. But, yeah, I mean, it's, yeah.
With this freezing stuff, though, is they still have to wait till you officially die. I feel like it really hurts, right? Like if they could just say, you're dying in a few weeks, we're going to put you under and like freeze you while you're still alive. Like, I imagine, I guess they can always say, oh, science will figure out, but maybe there's a future where they can revive people, but they're like, yeah, but these idiots, like their head wasn't frozen for like 30 plus minutes after they died. Like the neurons all like decomposed, like broke down and had issues.
Right.
Like once the neurons die, like the cells, like they can't, like if the cells don't get enough oxygen and the cellular mechanisms die, obviously I'm not a biologist here, but like maybe there's nothing you can literally do because like you can't have a robot go into every single cell and like fix the proteins inside of it.
Sure. Yeah. Well, no, I mean that like when people die for like their heart stops beating for like 7 minutes or something, and like they sort of revive them in some way. I mean, there's like brain damage and everything else. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't, because you are right. I guess when I began reading about it, I was sort of uncertain about where the process sort of would begin and end, but it would make sense. I mean, so like the Northwest, right? I mean, Washington and Oregon, they're pretty, I guess, out there when it comes to like certain policy. I mean, so they just essentially every drug is legal there now. They have death with dignity. So you can literally just like, if you are diagnosed with a terminal illness, and I don't know about just like suicidal, like severe, like depression to the point of being suicidal. Like, I don't know if, I don't think they would allow you to just take pills to end your life legally, but
I think for euthanasia, they have to have two doctors confirm like, yeah, this person is terminal and knows what they're doing. I don't think they do it for depression.
Yeah. I mean, but the point is like they're trending in a direction where it's like they give you pretty like full autonomy over a lot of things. So I would wonder if maybe, because I think that's one of those states is where like this cryogenic, like the initial cryogenic place is in the U.S. But in any case, like, I would not be stunned if there is a place within a certain amount of time that isn't too far off, where they essentially do say, like, hey, you're terminal, or essentially your organs are in bad enough shape where it's only a matter of time, and they essentially let you enter into, like, being frozen. Essentially they cause your death, or like onset death in you, and preserve you in the most appropriate way they can, given the technology at the time. But, I mean, it was an interesting, perspective that I hadn't necessarily fully considered. So the article that I read about this was, essentially viewed, I mean, a lot of things when it comes to, like, mental health and I guess just a lot of things generally people talk about them falling on a spectrum. So it was interesting to me to hear, like, them view life and death in a way as a spectrum. Because, I mean, I guess it's sort of, like, I could sort of see it, because it's like, I mean, as we've talked about, like, human consciousness, like, can sort of fall on a spectrum. Like, we're fully conscious right now and talking. I mean, when you first wake up in the morning, you may sort of not be perceptive of certain things that you are when you're more fully awake. When you're asleep, I mean, there's a dreaming, which may sort of incorporate different aspects of consciousness. And then when you're sort of beyond REM sleep, you're in the least conscious state, I guess, we typically experience. And then when it comes to, like, death, it's like people have died for, like I say, minutes at a time and then been revived. So, I mean, I guess that it is sort of I guess you would typically think of as, like, fully alive versus fully dead. Maybe there is some in between, some suspended state that we could get to. But
where your body's not working right, but it's not too late to, like, recover and fix if you do the right thing.
Right, exactly. So, I mean, essentially, yes.
Isn't that just science? Another thing is about hibernation. If you go space travel to Mars, they have to do that, right? For your body?
Well, not Mars. Mars is, they can do in, like, 9 months or something, right?
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Yeah, but no, I mean,
yeah, that's, like, a common idea. Is like, oh, if we want to go to, like, another solar system, just, like, freeze them for, a few decades, a few centuries, and you just wake up when you're there.
Yeah, I feel like that could be the path toward that, right? To wake you up after, like, centuries later, like after you. I think that could be I mean, NASA, when in the space program, a lot of things came out in the space program, right? So that could be one of the things that came out of it too, right? If you travel to another solar system.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there is a frog, right, that can be freeze entirely and then, like, wake up and be fine.
What do you mean?
You don't know that?
Oh, I hadn't heard of that.
Hold on, let me double check. Frog.
Yeah, well, just while you're looking it up, I can say, so I was looking up, like, obviously when I found this, I'm like, well, before I just jump and get my life insurance policy now, like, what are the arguments against this? And, basically, I mean, one of the bigger things that is difficult, in addition to figuring out, like, how to fix people when they're frozen, like, bring them back, is, I mean, I guess essentially, like, the thawing process, right? Like, how does that, like, I mean, your body has different tissues, densities that, like, make it very difficult to, like, unthaw you appropriately and do what they would need to be done. So I guess figuring that out is a major issue. So that's why this frog is interesting.
Yeah, it's called the wood frog, and they're in Alaska, and they spend, like, half the year basically frozen solid. And my only point is, I mean, look, humans are more complex than frogs, but I mean, frogs have all the same basic pieces we do, right? Including a brain and some nerves.
Right.
So, like, I mean, given some quirks of biology, it could just work out that humans could, like, be frozen and then wake up and be all right, like, just by normal freezing and thawing, right? Like, wouldn't that be crazy?
Right.
Then we would probably already be trying to send frozen people to like another solar system because we'd be like, just do that.
Right. Yeah, exactly. We just send a spaceship and it's like basically just float out there. And then like when it lands, we're just going to start the thawing process.
Yeah.
Heck, you don't even, I mean, if you're in space, you can just open the windows. Everyone will freeze. You're good.
That is true.
I think that's how it works, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. The end to gravity wasn't sad at all. So, yeah, no, it was, yeah, I mean, it's an interesting idea. I mean, so will I be frozen? Who knows?
If you have enough money and you're just like, screw it, will you roll the dice?
Yeah, I mean, hey, Ted Williams did it.
I mean, $80K is like buying a car, right? So it's not if you have the money, it's not too bad.
Yeah. No, I mean, and also, of course, how it ends.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if it's like, I mean, that's the other thing about this process, right? I mean, it's like, if it was a surefire thing, I guess you could be like, oh, well, just keep me frozen until, like, I can be almost certain I'll live, like, hundreds of years or whatever. And then I can decide from there. But where it's, like, obviously very uncertain, it's like, well, I'm not going to, like, enter into that. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, kill me now so I can come back later. It's like you're going to live now because you don't know if there's a later. But it's
Well, if it's a worse future, like if they brought you back and then they make you into a slave or anything, like torture you, and then
That's actually okay. So I know we only have like 2 minutes left here, but one of the people in the article actually was like, yeah, she was basically saying like, I just want to see what the future, like I want answers about the future. She's like, I don't care if I'm a slave in the future. Like I'm okay with that. So I was like,
that's a good attitude, but why? Like, if you were like, I need slaves, why would you be like, let's go try to revive the people who are dying or died and then were frozen so we can get these like geriatric 80-year-olds with terminal conditions and try to turn them into a slave? I don't feel like people would be looking for this for like slave labor here. Like, seems a little weird.
No, that is fair. Yeah. I mean,
you never know. Reality is usually more weirder than science fiction.
That's true. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if at some point in like a century or two, large swaths of frozen people are basically just like dumped and it doesn't happen. But maybe there'll be people who are like, we just want to know what, people from centuries past think and like remember and stuff. So maybe there'd be like a scientific interest in reviving people.
Yeah. I mean, who makes the decision to wake you up now that we're talking about this? Like, is it just like the company like has a list like, oh, we now have a good treatment for heart disease, or like, we just have infinite like good hearts. We can grow hearts now and it's super cheap. So like everyone who has a bum heart that we have frozen, like, and we know how to implant them and then revive them. So like now we're just going to wake up all those people, or is it just like, well, or like does a relative, like your great grandchild comes in and is like, oh, like what my great grandfather died of, like they can fix it now, so wake him up, like, and is there a fee for that?
Yeah, I think it's just that your condition's curable, which the company will be like, sure, they'll just wait and see.
Yeah.
To be fair, though, it's like the first company that starts waking people up from like 2 centuries past is going to get booming business. Like, the first time they do it successfully, like every rich person's going to be like, sign me the fuck up.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Well, I guess at that point, there might be a period of time where if they can wake someone up and treat some conditions, but not all, there might be a time period. But to be fair, by the time they're waking the first people up, we might move past the whole like dying thing in the first place, right? If you can do that,
right,
maybe you can just keep everyone alive. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that is the other thing. So it's sort of like people who say like we're gonna like, oh, we're just gonna be able to back ourselves up to computers. It's like, well, then why aren't we just living on computers essentially? I mean, and we obviously had this discussion about is that, like, it isn't you anyway, but I mean, that sort of is the point. Like, we can do whatever we want if we're just data on computers. We can literally just live in a virtual world, or the version of us can live in that world. So, all right, well, I should go to my Christmas party.
All right. Mike's got important things to do.
Yes.
Yeah, I got as well. Yeah.
We already had a talk once this week, so.
All right, what's our sign off for episode 4?
Memento mori, I guess.
Memento mori. Shu says the mask, very ominous.
Yeah, that's right. Shu's going into surgery because he's a doctor. All right.
All right. See you later.
All right. Stay alive.
Junto Club.